y'all. Welcome to another high-powered episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. Joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stalkup over there in Big Sky Country, Texas. Giving all hook and horns over there from the Mile High City. Thanks for everyone joining us every night. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribe. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. We've been growing really fast. I know we're already up like almost to 400 now, so we're getting close. We're like 345 or something like that, or 350 or something. But we're moving, so those subs are going up. Pretty awesome. And then, look who's coming in already, wanting to keep his champion streak going.
Oh no.
The old D-Man, DJ in the house.
Thank you, our team.
Awesome, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. I even brought 2 tiebreakers tonight just in case. You know, you never know. So we'll see. But it's an easy quiz. We're probably gonna have Cameron and Adam joining us tonight. Don't forget to check out Team SOS podcast. He's pretty. If you guys are just kind of feeling down in the dumps, you just want to talk to somebody, just jump on over there and vibe it on up with Team SOS, and he'll get you feeling better. It's pretty awesome, teaming up with him, and like I say, Daniel's gonna have his work cut out for him tonight. It's easy, you know what I mean? That's why I say, you guys should go 5 for 5. But like I say, I got 2 tiebreakers just in case, you get lucky. Maybe you have that lucky coin, that double-headed coin that you get lucky with from time to time, So
I'm surprised they get as many as they do. Hell, most of those I'm freaking guessing at.
Yeah, this one should be pretty easy. Like I say, I try to keep the difficulty pretty easy, so that you have a chance to kind of get a swing at old King James, and like I say, I was surprised the ones that you get, and I was actually really surprised when Daniel got the Air Carter one. That was pretty awesome. And big shout out. Looks like we got 4 people over there on Rumble, so thanks for joining us on that Rumble side. Appreciate you guys, and thanks King James for putting them together on Rumble too, because I know it takes you a little bit of time to get the stream set up. It's not the same setup as
it took me longer to try to figure out how to get the damn thing to work from over there. Well, it's one thing if you do it over there, but we go to different streaming platforms and stuff, and it's different when you're doing it to all of them. And I actually had to read I think it took me about 2 days of reading documentation and what I needed to do. I mean, it was like, God dang, man. But we got it.
And thanks to the 10 people that followed us, because you have to have 10 followers where you could even build a stream. So,
yeah.
Thanks to the 10 people that jumped on and followed us, so that we could even get them going. So
I think
that's pretty awesome.
I think it'll eventually grow more and more over there. It's just sort of like YouTube took us a long time to get going on it and everything, and it slowly but surely has grown. I mean, it's amazing we get thousands of views, but they're not subscribing. I mean, give us, at least subscribe to the channel. It helps with all the algorithms and everything. But the biggest thing I learned is just share it. That's like the biggest algorithm, that you share it out. So before we get going, I want to show something that we've done. I've been very, very busy and getting things, and we've done some updates and stuff to the learning management system. I'm going to show this real quick so everybody can see it. But what
I did think I saw that post you posted.
Let me put this on full screen. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Now, when you look at this, we've done a little bit of fixing up to the front page and stuff. Another thing, somebody had asked me, about our logo, with NEC in it and stuff. I know you did too. And I actually did it. I did some research on this. Everything I do research on. And there's certain things that each one of the colors have on there, they actually have a meaning behind it. It just wasn't because I wanted color into it. I could have just put SEE across and just put Startup Electrical Education, been a clean logo. But I provided a link here to the logo. Anybody wants to go there and look, it comes in. I got a breakdown here telling you what the color represents, but basically it's the safety focus of our courses, and the blues for our educational content compliance, and green is for your growth and learning, aligning with the educational aspect of the brand. And then black and white is just to enhance the visibility and focus that it's based on the NEC.
Okay. We don't wish for the troll, Daniel.
Mm-hmm. Well, everything I do, it's just a troll. But
never stalk upper.
This is the main thing right here is we have our publications and our course subscriptions. Now up here, I've added up in the publications, you'll see there's a subscription service here. If you want to check that out, I did this for people that are taking their tests, things like that. You come in here and you can do this monthly. Okay, so if you want to come in and you want to study with a journeyman exam prep, you could spend 3 months, spend just $60, cost you $20 a month basically. If you're doing the masters, it's $25 a month. If you just want to do the questions and problems, it's $9.95. So you can just go through here. We got motor series, transformer series. I mean, you may want to just look at everything for a month. We're going to give you that option now. One other thing that has been a big update that we did is in the blog page here, and I'm going to show you, like here, I'll just do this one here. We'll just say NEC articles. So say I have, and you'll see, I'll show you this because this looks different than the way I had it before. I went in, I did some research, and all through the site, I spent the last, I guess it would be 4 days. I had there was this thing I paid for, and it was pretty expensive, but what it did, it come in and I put my website address in, and it went in and it talked about the health of the website. Basically, it goes in and tells you all the improvements you need to do, okay. So, and I never really thought about it, but it's like when I write a publication, I start off with an A head and whatever that topic is, and if there's a B head that goes under it, C, D, whatever, as I break it down. Well, what I had to do is go in and fix all the headings and stuff. So I've done the articles in this same way. So when you come in here and you look at the article now, you'll come in and you'll see I've got it breaking down under the article series, and I've actually highlighted in color the headings. So when you're going down and you're looking at this, even like right here, you got see illustration 1, I've got it highlighted here. So it's quick, easy reference. I've got all these little things marked out as headings. So it basically works with the algorithm that's there. So
okay,
we've added that. And then when you come back and you look at the front page also, you'll notice all these upgrades that have actually been done here. We welcome you to the page. We tell you about the learning management system and go see the educational logo. One of the other things that I'm about to have here, and I know a lot of y'all seen these before, but they do what they call these whiteboard explainer videos. I've been researching that. I'm actually going to have an explainer video that goes through and shows you how to use all this stuff. I'm going to have them for each individual page for different things, and I'm also going to have the explainer videos in the courses. So you'll be able to go through and see everything the way we've got everything set up. You'll notice we've updated on the icons some, and then this here goes in and does a whole layout of what the benefits of using our type of learning management system is, and you can see we cleaned up the coloring and everything on this. So those are some of the things that we done to update this, but I just wanted to show it to everybody because I've actually had somebody message me on a couple of things that they weren't sure of. So I was like, yeah, we're updating that right now for everybody to see. So anyway, that's update.
And funny thing too for Daniel, Gopher fan was trying to sneak into the contest and he got shut down. Dunzo. So
yeah, what happened was he come in, he used a fake name, and we explicitly state in the contest rules on the page that there's a prize that's given away at the end of it after a year, 1,000. Everybody knows that, and I'm going to try to work with some of the supply house around here so we can get some giveaways and stuff for other places. But
yeah, we might just have a participation
right.
Prize for everyone, but we'll see how it goes. I'll talk to some people too on my tool thing.
Okay.
I sometimes get free stuff on tools.
All right. And then basically he used another name. In other words, he falsely impersonated himself. And I called him out on it. And what he was complaining about, because I forgot to put a blank where the answer was, I actually had the answer there. And he was like, oh, you did, I'm doing so many damn things, I just missed it. And
yeah, I noticed it. I didn't say nothing, but
well, you got you got the question right. So
yeah.
I went back, I fixed it. I missed it. I'll admit it. But of course I should shut down the site because I did that. And,
I know.
And I called him out on it, and I told him, if you don't give me the name, I said, you falsely impersonated yourself. I said, I'm gonna press charges on you. I said, because there's other people that are in the contest, and I said that really care. He automatically gave me that name, and I, deleted that name from there. And I told him if he did it again, I'm not going to be civil anymore. I said, I'm going to press charges. And he goes, you can't do anything to me. It's just like Facebook. Anybody can create. I said, in this case, you're going to find out because I have a contest going that actually prizes and stuff are given. So, okay. Well, do it again, Jeremy, and we'll see. I'm trying to be civil with you, and you come on here and you talk a bunch of smack and stuff, and what you did was improper, and you know it, and everybody that's watching knows it. So
yeah, and it's really not it's not a really cool way to represent a local 292 over there either. So whatever, if that's what you want to represent your local there. So
well, the thing that gets me is this is their thought process over there. Do as I say, not as I do. And that is sort of the mindset over there. I'm going to tell you what you remind me of. You remind me of like USAID. And you're doing stuff over there that's improper, and it's getting called out now. And you just continuously keep doing it. And the people are seeing, the people are saying they've had enough of it. And, just because somebody disagrees with you does not give you the moral authority to come in and try to tear somebody down, say their publications suck, everything they do is terrible, but yet you haven't done a tenth of what I've accomplished so far. It's just like this here. I write publications, I edit the publications, I draw the illustrations, I lay out the publication, I do all that. That's just to do the publication. Then I create the online courses, I create all the online interactivity and everything that goes in it, and then I built the learning management system. But yet, you have the gravitas to come in and tell me I'm a blah, 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 and I'm a disgrace to the electrical industry. And that's uncalled for. When I'm taking and I have an opinion on something, basically what they're saying is you're not allowed to have an opinion unless it agrees with us. That's basically what they're telling you. So, that's why he comes on here and talks all this madness to us all the time. So, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. But I'm asking you, Jeremy, do not put another fake name on there or you're going to find out. FAFO, just like Trump said, mess around and find out. Because I'm not I'm trying to be civil right now. There's not going to be any civility if you do it again. Okay,
Sure.
so
Yeah,
get
I
that out
mean,
of the way.
it's one of those things, I mean, I kind of don't blame them because, like when I looked at it, they tried to write 210.8f to kind of cover everything, and then when they found out that it wasn't going to work on everything, then they had a problem, and they're kind of been backtracking for the last 2 cycles, and they're going to have some more problems, So we'll
Well,
show tonight kind of where we kind of been following this whole thing, and let's just go ahead and go for the meme right away because Daniel knows this meme hits home for all of us.
all right, let's cue it up.
I'd be willing to bet that was in Vegas too because when I was in Vegas, I was sitting there just like, oh, that's hack, that's hack, that's hack. It was pretty funny. So.
I forgot. I forgot. But I was on the phone with Bill. I don't remember what night it was. And I was hungry. I was like, I'm going to stop here and get something, a couple of tacos, Jack in the Box before I went home. And I'm just there talking to him. I'm looking right at the side of the building. And I said, you ain't going to believe this. I have a wall shame picture right here in front of me. And it literally, it was an old meter base. And they took the old meter base and they took a piece of plexiglass and somehow got it mounted in there. And then they came out of that and went over to a new meter base. I've never seen that before. And I took a picture. We'll use it next week. I forgot to use it this week, but
I know. I was gonna ask you. I don't think we put it in there yet.
no, it was just like, what was it, like Sunday night or something like that? I was coming back from the pool hall or something, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, man, I got to take a picture of that. So that was pretty funny because I was just on the phone with you, and here I find a wall of shame pick for us.
Oh, yeah. The wall of shame this week is pretty good. It's a pretty decent one. But no, I don't know if you know this or not, James, but they actually have some pretty cool emojis over on Rumble. So, like, they have all these new emojis they just dropped, and it's pretty funny. They got, like, Trump dancing, and there's, like, a bunch of cool ones on there. So, like, you guys need to jump over there and jump over to Rumble and check out all the little emojis that they have over there, and it's pretty sweet. Yeah, they have all kinds. They have like this dog doing this, and it's pretty cool. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I get that. I remember one time we were in this grocery store, and I'm sitting over there kind of watching the maintenance guy, and he's up working above the ceiling, and I see him kind of like look around, then he throws some trash up there. And I see him look around again. He throws some more trash up there. And I'm just sitting there just shaking my head. My wife's like, what's wrong? I'm like, that stuff's going to fall on my head when I come to do a service call. I'm going to go over there, grab the wrong tile, and all that trash is going to fall out of that tile. And, happens to us every time. I had one time I was doing I was relamping, and I was on a articulating boom lift. And I was up above entryway, and it was all glass. The whole thing was glass, and I was going to pull the tile out, and I felt something heavy up there, so I was like real careful when I was taking it out. It was one of those foam tiles, and it was a freaking 4-inch core. They cored through the slab, and they just dropped the core right on top of the ceiling tile and left it there.
Really? Wow.
So, man, it was so lucky that I was careful, because it would have just fell out and just busted all that glass, and so it was pretty lucky, like you have to be real careful when you're up there on ceiling tiles. So, it's pretty funny. So, yeah, it really is pretty cool to have all these people jump in and check out the show. I know you noticed Bridget jumped in on NEC for Dummies, and no hate to Miss Katie, but it's fun when you get to know all these different people in the trade and work with them all, and you know, like I say, I try to keep a neutral thing with all of them because everyone gets beat with everyone from time to time. So
I tell you,
just try to
all the
keep it
training
all
I did
civil.
all over the country, really the world. I've been all over the place. Uh, God, I've met tens of thousands of people, just from every sector, man, and good people, that come out. They're wanting to learn. I'll tell you where most of them I picked up where they really put a lot of study time in is these people that work at facilities. I mean, they really get in, tried to learn. I remember I went and did a class for oh God, Pantex in Amaryllis, where they do the ammunitions. They got beryllium and stuff there. I
Hmm.
was actually teaching a 70 class, and we, they wanted to not only use my material, but they had certain standards there that, wonder if the troll, yeah,
Yeah,
well, he did. Um,
yeah.
uh, so I took portions of their standards that they want to teach and correlated it with the 70E, and then I made a test for them to take and everything, and then they certified their own people as having 70E training and passing the test. And I think they had engineers and everybody come in. I was there for um, I think I was there 2 weeks straight, almost 2 weeks, and they were 2-day classes, so they were doing everybody in the facility there, and it was a couple hundred people. And after it was all done, the training and everything, there was only 2 people that failed, and so I stayed another day. They paid me to stay and go over what they missed and everything, explain it to them further, then they passed. But they were not allowed to go back to work, and they would not receive any money until they passed that test, and then they get the money. But they paid for them to be in the class, so they took it serious, and they had about 300-400 people that took that test to show that they knew safety and what they were going to do when they went out in the field and worked on the equipment, which is going to be good because we're actually going to talk about that in the myth of the week on some of it. And then
Sure.
when we get to the topic of the week, I'm going to do called the evolution of the outlet, and I'm going to show some stuff that took place. And well, you'll see. So
Yeah, the one thing that I really appreciate, like when I first started talking to you about it, is how important it is to like know the truth, and Daniel knows this. Like some of these safety guys out there, like no, you can't even take a four-square cover off with the energize, and it's like, how do you know if it's energized or not? You're taking the four-square cover off. Like no, you got to have gloves on to take that four-square cover off. So to me, you're gonna sit there like suited up with gloves on a ladder trying to take a four square off. That's
you're
to
not.
me almost putting yourself in a more dangerous situation than just verifying it's de-energized prior
That's the
to
same as saying
manipulating the wire.
you can't even touch the conduit. I mean, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. But we're going to get into
true,
that, and I'm going to
100%.
go in depth deeper when we get into that on the myth of the week. So, as a
All
matter of
right,
fact, let's just go
roll
and
it.
cue it up. Hell, let's just cue it up. All right.
Right.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right, this one is like really interesting. This comes from one of the job sites we were at, and the inspector's like, that's not enough working clearance. And so I kind of started asking him like, well, how would 110 26A apply to this application because this is actually before they put the grid sealing in, so there was a grid sealing that went through there. And this is always kind of a topic for discussion because they say, like, I've heard inspectors say you have to have 36 inches clearance. Well, that's a 480 volt VAB unit. So you would actually, if you're going to go off of 110/26A, you would need, 42 inches. You'd need 3'6", so, and then how are you going to insulate yourself from that grid sealing because you have grounded materials that's in that working space. So this one was pretty interesting, and we kind of went over it. Me and the inspector kind of went over it with a fine-tooth comb and kind of went through it. And like I say, there was a lot more of these that had less clearance than that. We had some that like barely had enough room for the door to open up against the drywall, Mm-hmm. And so what he determined was that's not likely to be worked on while energized, because what you're doing is you're going to shut that switch off, and then once that switch is off, all the load side connections that would be energized, which there's fuses in there's all kinds of stuff that would be energized with that switch in the on position. Once that's turned into an off position, you're able to open that door, and at that point, the manufacturer is basically telling you that that's an electrically safe work condition because all the load side of that switch is de-energized. And the only parts that are energized are insulated, and they're hidden from inadvertent contact for personnel. So these guys, when they work on these units, they have us fire them up and we have them work on them and stuff. That is not considered energized work because there's no exposed energized terminals of that equipment, and there's barriers in place to avoid inadvertent contact from personnel. So by the way that those pieces of equipment are designed, they're telling you that once that switch is shut off and you are able to open that door, then that is electrically safe work condition. That's the only way they're able to do that is because you can have unqualified people work on those units. And it's not like you have to be a qualified person for 70E to open that door. And so it was kind of interesting, and we went through it, and the inspector agreed. We both agreed on that that's not likely to be worked on while energized. And so essentially you're actually complying with 110/26A, and you're actually that's one of those pieces of equipment I'm not going to be going up there and taking any of that 480 apart while it's energized, even if the switch is off. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go lock out. I'm going to go de-energize the breaker to that. I'm going to lock it out, and then I'm going to verify for the absence of voltage. But at that point that I'm working on it, I know it's de-energized, so there's not any reason that I need to have any more clearance than enough to just work on it. I don't need the actual working clearance for electrical equipment. So I don't know if I talked to you about it too much. I always try to get your take on some of these 70E ones and different things, how 110/26A correlates to 70E and stuff. And like I say, I was interested to kind of see what you were going to say about this and how you would kind of approach this being like an inspector from the inspector side.
Sure. I find it interesting because I forget what the discussion was. This guy, Jeff White, he was sitting there mouthing off and everything about something we were discussing on Saturday night. I basically showed him he didn't know what he was talking about. And he goes, well, like you think you just know everything. I said, well, I said, I've only been on the committee pretty much since it started. I've been on the task groups that updated, and I said, if you go back and you look when 70 first started, it was basically pulling safety rules or safety topics out of NFPA 70, which is the National Electrical Code. And then the reason that we started that document in the first place is because OSHA only updated their standard there, and you would be looking at 1910.302 through 308. And
right.
That's basically what 70E was. Well, they updated that maybe every 10, 15 years, whatever. the code updated every 3 years. So they were using the 70E as a remedial standard to enforce the shock protection and safety for people working on equipment. That's all it was. Then eventually we come in and added the arc flash and all of that stuff and started doing all the analysis and all that stuff. So when you come over and you look at 110.26 and you get in and you look at what is required when you're going to work on this equipment, in 110.26a, it specifically states working space for equipment operating at 1,000 volts nominal arrested ground and likely to require examination, adjustment, servicing, or maintenance while energized. Okay, so if I'm going to go over and I'm going to, and this gets you into Article 120 of 70E, where you get into lockout and tagout. You go in, you verify everything. That's why we got all this documentation and everything. You go in, you lock and tag it out, and then you go over there and you do test the tester, test the circuit, test the tester again. You do your verification of the absence of voltage. Once you've done that, you don't need working space, because now you're going to be servicing whatever you're going to be doing, maintenance on that equipment, whatever, while the equipment is not energized. But now, if you need to do adjustments and things like that while it's energized, now you got to take and have your working clearance. Okay?
True.
And that ties in with your table here, just like you were talking about, based on which type of condition you're in. But at the very minimum, you got to have 3 foot if you're working on it while it's energized. Now, with that said, what I wanted to do at this point is I wanted to sort of break down the 70E, and this is in the 2024. That now, when you go in and you start looking at it, you're going to get into Article 110. 110 is going to get into general requirements, and I don't want to be here all night going through everything. Article 120 is going to deal with lockout, tagout. When you get into Article 130, this is where you're looking at things you could be working on while it's energized. Okay? Now, when I go look at 130.4, you're going to pick up where you're going to do your electric shock risk assessment. And when I get over to 130.5, I'm going to look at my arc flash risk assessment. Okay? So when I look at 130.4a, these are just general things right here. First and foremost, you have to identify the electrical shock hazard. Okay? Then you do the estimate of it, which is going to be the potential severity of the injury or damage to health that could occur. And then you're going to determine if additional protective measures are required. Okay? Now let me give you an example of something.
That was like that one we were talking about where we didn't have the working clearance, and you could do that additional protective measures to like guard that grounded materials that's impeding in the workspace.
That's where you
stuff like that.
That's where you come in and you start looking at your rubber insulating blankets and things like that. Okay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, like what I noticed too, is when the inspectors are trying to enforce like working space on this, like they have the electrician in mind, but this equipment is basically designed to where it can have unqualified people work on it, not just electricians. So that's why you don't really require, I mean, to me, honestly, 110.26 is complied with because it's not likely to be worked on while energized. Even though those line side terminals could be energized, that's not, you're not working on it, you're not servicing it, you know, you're not doing anything to it with that energized. It's those line side terminals are staying isolated, and you're only working on the load side that's de-energized.
Well, I'm gonna give you an example. Dad and I, we wrote the inspection procedure for the pump stations through Alaska for the oil lines there, and we also did it here in the United States for the big companies. And one of the things when we first started out there in Alaska, they had an area at one of the pump stations, and the disconnect didn't have the working clearance in front of it. Well, they had an inspector that was out there, and then we had ACOSH out there also, OSHA, and they had an engineer there, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to get working space. Well, it was a non-fusible disconnect. And when we got out there, we were looking at it, and we didn't write it up. And they said, hey, y'all made a mistake. And I said, where's the mistake? And they said, no, you don't need working clearance for that. And they said, oh, no, you got to have working clearance. I said, no, you don't. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, is there any reason you can think of why you need to get inside that disconnect to do any maintenance, servicing, or anything for it? And he just said there, he goes, well, I don't understand what you're asking. I said, what I'm trying to tell you is you're going to take and lock and tag out, and then you're going to open that disconnect, and you're going to verify that all the blades had disengaged. And we showed them in the 70E where we even talk about that. And once you verify that, then you're going to check to see if it's de-energized. And once you've checked for it to be de-energized, then you don't need working clearance, because you know everything from that point on, unless you had a backfeed or something like that. I said, you know you're going to work on this while it's not energized. I said, so there's no reason you're getting in that disconnect unless you're doing a verification. That's it. And I said, right. I told him, I said, you know, we've been all over the country, and I said, I can't tell you how many times I saw where disconnects that actually were fusible didn't even have the clearance. They're older disconnects that were put in. People, you know, back in, they didn't really look at it that way. They may have 2.5 foot, you know, clearance. And this is where you get in. We recognize this on the 70E committee. We actually discussed this. So it's not something that's hearsay. I was actually there when all this took place. And one of the things we looked at that point was taking additional protective measures. So if you look in front of a piece of equipment, say I'm just doing something basic, you got to have 3 foot and you've got 2'6". Guess what? You have to protect yourself, because you do not want to create where you're in a touch and step potential situation. And we even recognize that in definitions in 70E. Go look it up. You'll see everything I'm telling you is true here. So what we do is we would take and put up insulated blankets up behind you, or even to the side if you need to protect you from creating that touch and step potential, and then put down an insulating mat. That insulates you at that point to work on that if you need to get in there for whatever reason and do it while it's energized. And that goes for any equipment that's old or anything that's been out there. These are your additional protective measures. You could also take and say you don't have the clearance height-wise. Well, you could actually, you know, raise your arm or something in contact. Well, if that's the case, then we'd want you to put on rubber insulating sleeves also. So you can see where I'm going with this. These are your different types of additional protective measures. Okay, so this is part of your risk assessment, and that's why I want to point this out and just do the general requirements to start off with, and explain where we're going with this as far as if the working clearance was required or not. Now, the next thing that you're going to do, it's going to talk about the estimate and likelihood of severity. All right. Well, look at 2 of the things they tell you. The design of the electrical equipment, the electrical equipment operating condition, and the conditions of maintenance. Well, that goes in, tying you in with 70B, or the manufacturer's instructions as far as the condition and the type of maintenance that's performed on the equipment. But the design of the electrical equipment, once it's been designed, that's under normal operating conditions once it's passed inspection and everything and been put in properly. That's why I say the National Electrical Code, NFPA 70, is your design and installation manual. Okay?
Right.
And 70E is your safety manual, and 70B is your maintenance for that equipment. And then if you look after that, after you got through the general, then it drops down and hits you on those additional protective measures. and you're going to see they're going to reference you over to the general requirements in 110.3H3, and this is where you get into the hierarchy of your risk control. And then they got the additional methods, and look what it says. Include the use of what? PPE. Okay?
Right.
Now, look at this. If I'm going to work on something that's non-energized, do I need to take and also at this point have a limited approach boundary? No.
If it's, yeah,
There's nothing there exposed. And that's what
and you look at this as a really good example. I really like this because it says like the design of the equipment. So like I say, that equipment's designed so that unqualified people can open that door and work on it. And it's not likely to be worked on while energized, even if you don't tag out that line side breaker. And we actually examined this. Me and the inspector actually went and looked at this piece of equipment and looked at it and examined it, and we were like, wow, this design, there's no way that you can get injured. I mean, of course, anybody can use a lawnmower as a hedge trimmer and cut their fingers off, but, there's very little margin of error for anybody to get hurt when these line side terminals are de-energized, because when you flip that switch and you open that door, there's nothing that's energized from those line side terminals. You have a control transformer that's behind the panel, and that control transformer actually fires up your power conversion equipment. So that's why you have to have that 480 turned on to this unit so that you can program your power conversion equipment and get the units talking and tie them in with your T-stats and your energy management system and everything else. So that's where we came up with the whole thing, because he was blown away because we locked out, tagged it out, and then opened it up and went and looked, and he's like, I don't see why you would need to have working clearance on this, because even with the breaker on, there's nothing that's exposed energized parts. So
sure, and that
essentially that's an electrically safe work condition regardless if you have the breaker locked out or tagged out or not.
And sure, look at the first part of 130.4b. It literally tells you that the estimate of likelihood of occurrence.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be more clear. And that's why when I hear inspectors say, "Oh, you got to have work clearance," I'm like, "No, you know what I'm talking about." And then I go through and show them and explain it, and they're like, "Well, I didn't know that was there." I'd say the majority of your inspectors don't know anything about 70E, really, just the basics. They really don't know. And when you go, this is why it's important for electricians, engineers, contractors, whoever, that you have a good understanding of 70E and how it applies and whether or not those clearances are required. And you'll notice when it talks about those additional protective measures, then you need the boundary requirements here based on the hierarchy of risk control. And so now all of a sudden it's not 3-foot clearance. You got to have a minimum of 3'6". They don't even know that. And that's why they come in and tell you here the personal other protective equipment required by this standard to protect against electrical shock hazards. Okay? Now, watch this. When you get into that assessment, that's what I was talking about, and you're going to look at table, we'll say it's AC, table 130.4 EA, and that's where you're going to come in and you're going to pick up the table here. And if you're working on, in this case would be exposed fixed circuit parts, you'll see the minimum here, 50 to 300 volts, is 3'6". And then you'll notice we also take and have here, we talk about the restricted boundary too. Okay?
Right.
So that's the same as, we consider that the same as you're working on it. All right? Now, with that said, all I'm trying to show everybody at that point is this is what the 70 document states, and why is it written that way? And I think the estimate of likelihood of occurrence is the most important phrase in there, because you're not going to be working on it while it's energized, because you're going to lock and tag it out. And when you lock and tag it out, you're just doing a verification. Once the verification is done, you don't need that working clearance. So why would you require it in the first place? I mean,
Yeah, and like in this case, the design of the equipment, so you don't even need a lockout tagout in that situation.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff's pretty interesting. And once again, myth is busted. So appreciate Tabitha L for getting me fired up on that topic from her podcast a couple weeks ago on Wednesday. So if you want to check out a really cool podcast, Ask the Lady Inspector. It's a really good podcast to check out. And so you can call in and be on her show like I was 2 weeks ago. So
All right.
it's pretty fun. She said I was her first caller, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's nice. All right.
Yeah.
Let's roll into the topic of the week because I'm going to show some people some stuff here. I think everybody will find this educational.
I was waiting.
All right. And this topic of the week, as everybody probably read on thing, this is the evolution of the outlet. Okay. One of the things I want to start off before I start really getting in and breaking down everything. When I went back, I went all the way back to 1947. I just quit looking, but the definition never changed. Okay. It's always been the same. And as long as I've been doing this, anything that was hardwired was never considered an outlet. Now all of a sudden it is. Okay. So when all this started happening and they started wanting to require this GFCI protection stuff, this all started back in the 2020 NEC. Okay. So what I'm going to do.
It was even a little bit before that because like the public input stage was like around like 2018, I would want to say, or 2017 or something. So it takes a while. Like once these get in, it takes a while to kind of voice your opinion. And this was actually 2026 was the first cycle actually submitted for.
Yeah,
so.
I've been doing this for a long time. So, I remember we used to have books that come to us that were 2 inches thick at least, that we had the ROP and the ROC, which was a report on proposals and report on comments. And you actually had to go through and look all that crap up. And now they've got it all digitized on their site at NFPA, which makes it much easier to follow, in my opinion. But back in the day, it was a lot of research. But, and that's one of the good things back in because I actually had to read a lot of stuff and go back and forth because they'd be referring to another panel. You had to read. I mean, it was back and forth. It would take me to write probably about 150 to 250, depending on how many there were. It'd take me about 4 or 5 months to go through and go through all of that. And, when I came up with this idea as I started looking at it, because back then they didn't used to have the text that was written out where they made the changes and stuff. We actually would find in what they did, and then we'd look at the old text and changes they made. Then we started coming in, we colored it in red and underlined it so you could see where the change was taking place for that cycle. And now you notice NFPA does it. Basically, we were the first to start that, and they basically copied what we were doing. The only difference is NFPA shades it, but we colored it back then. That was us that started that, and I guess they thought, man, that's a good idea, so they do it now. But and what was funny is I think it's Jeremy and Bunch, Fritz, all of them. They're going, "Nah, you're full of crap. You didn't start that." And I went and pulled the publication, took a picture. I said, "Here you go." I said, "They wasn't doing it before then, so show me somebody else that did, because I can tell you they did."
Was that 99 they started at, or 02?
It's so long. I don't even remember anymore.
All right.
I don't go back remembering all of that. I just remember we started at first and I had to go back and look. Now, what I'm going to start off with is looking at 210.8D. This is where they added this in the 2020, and they got into specific appliances. And what you're going to notice when they first put this in the first revision, they were referring you to 422.5 B through B3 through B5, and then and this is unless GFCI protection is provided. Then they also, now I want you to listen to the words here, the outlets supplying the appliances.
Right.
Okay. And then they go in and look at 422.5A, and they tell you it has to be GFCI protection in accordance with B1 through B2. Okay. So they added some stuff here in the first revision, and then when they got to the second revision, here's what happened. Okay. So they did the first thing, and then you'll see that this here is where you looked at 422.5A, and you'll see that they come in at that cycle in 2020. They added sump pump and disc pump. Okay, and then there's an informational note that specifies here that the requirements for GFCI protection for the branch circuit outlet where covered locations warrant such protection. Okay, so this shows you A and B, what is required when I'm going over looking at Article 422.5, where I'm dealing with GFCI protection for personnel for the appliances and what they were requiring at that point. Okay?
Yeah, and notice how it says cord and plug connected. Like I thought the hazard was exactly the same for both.
Oh yeah. Well, you'll see they end up taking that away, and then it'll just say high pressure. They're going to get rid of the cord and plug connected. And you'll remember when this first started, I specifically pointed that out to them.
Right.
So and I'll bring up another one here. I just want to look at, let's just say, vending machines. Have you ever seen a vending machine installed outside?
I mean, like at golf courses and stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen them outside. I've seen them before there until they started bigger grocery stores. They used to be outside grocery stores all the time. We used to have one
I'll tell
over
you
here,
this,
Wiggly like that.
I'll tell you this straight up. I actually had a whole bank of vending machines. I know that they had integrated. I think they had integrated GFPE on them, but somehow it must have complied with the code because they didn't have any GFCI on them.
Hell, I've seen where they have food in them, and I've seen them where they're outside, where you have an open area mall that you go into. That's open to the outside. I've seen them there. All right.
Yeah.
So then, what did 210.8D do in the 2023? Well, they struck all that out, and then they come in and they decided to add exactly what was there that was placed in 422.5A there. So now they've added this over here in 210.8D, and they're saying they're specific appliances. And this is why I bring it up. Have you ever seen a vending machine outside? Yes. Have you ever seen a sump pump outside? Yes. Okay. These are items that you've seen outside before. All right.
Right.
So this was one of my arguments. That's why I wanted to call it the evolution of the outlet, because I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about when I get into this. And the reason I want to bring this up is an AC unit considered an appliance?
Yes.
Yes, it's an appliance. So, and I would consider that to be a specific appliance like this. So why didn't Code Making Panel 2 decide to put it here in 210.8D? Well, I'm going to show you here pretty soon. I'm going to show you what they did, and I'm going to show you I feel they did something underhanded here. Okay?
I agree.
Not only based on the fact that they should have had technical merit to do it in the first place, which was never provided.
True.
The things that they reference, and then they did some report thing trying after the fact. And that got rejected too at the Standards Council. But we're going to go through that.
Right.
And I'm going to explain a couple of things that I can't find anymore.
I find it interesting that I don't even think still to this day there's substantiation on 210.8F.
Yeah. Well, you'll remember that I come in and I argued that it said cord and plug connected. You'll see 210.8D decided in the second revision of the 2023 revision. They took that out and just called it high pressure spray washing machines. And then look at all the items that they added after this. They did electric ranges, wall-mounted ovens, counter-mounted cooking units, clothes dryers, microwaves, and they applied all of this, and there was no technical merit that showed that people were getting killed off of this, that they needed to have GFCI protection. There was no technical merit there to do it. They just
they actually had consumer reports that people were working on their microwave ovens while energized. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's abnormal use of equipment. And that's been my complaint. That's been my argument this whole time, is that the code can't cover abnormal use of equipment.
Yeah, and I wanna read the committee statement here. All right, I'm gonna do the second and third paragraph here. They got it says, due to the nature of the hazards with these installations. So they're basically telling you we consider there's a hazard here. They didn't have no technical merit. They're just saying due to the nature. They say the requirement was placed in 210.8D to address all outlets and not be limited to only receptacle outlets found in 210.8A. Now listen to this. 210.8D now includes new list items 8 through 12, as these are sometimes hardwired to outlets. Well, wait a minute. Y'all, now you're telling us that the outlet's the equipment. How can you hardwire it to an outlet if the outlet's already there?
True.
You see what I'm saying? And it said, and would not be part of the GFCI requirements for receptacles and laundry areas, blah, 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 blah. So they say the shock hazard does not go away due to hardwired versus cord and plug connected equipment. So basically, that's why they removed the cord and plug connected up here. But yet they come in and they do an addressment. They address this and they say that it's sometimes hardwired to outlets. Okay, that goes back, and we're if you're going to hardwire it to an outlet, that outlet would have to be what? A box
installed. There's
a box there. That's your outlet.
It would have to be installed. It can't. It doesn't just exist.
Well, yeah, it has to be installed. But it's no different. I've made this argument before. I've got a box up in the ceiling, and I'm going over and I'm connecting to a fixture. The outlet's right there at the box. Go look at 314.27. So this goes back once again to the things that I've argued about over and over and over, explaining why you have to take the code as a whole. Now, watch this. Then you'll notice here's the first revision, okay? They just changed a little bit there for 210.8D. Now watch this. Then they come in, oh, what happened here? Now it says GFCI protection shall be provided for the branch circuit or outlet supplying appliances identified in 422.5. Well, guess what? You don't have there anymore. They don't recognize over there ranges, ovens, cooking units, dryers, or ovens. Those are not over there in the 2026. Well, if I come back here, you made the statement right here. You're trying to tell us that you've put all this in due to the nature of the hazard with these installations. If it was such a hazard, why the hell is it not there anymore?
Because code making panel 17 said, nah.
Yeah.
Oh, they went to a compromise. They got to a compromise.
Oh, that's what they call it now. Oh, we compromised. No, you didn't compromise. You didn't have the technical merit to do what you did in the first place, and you didn't have the technical merit to do what you've done in 210.8F. So when you come look at the 2020, the first revision, they did outdoor, and this is what I want everybody to see. Here they come in. Here is the first revision, okay? It's showing what was required for the outdoor outlets, and then you come in and you look after that. Look at the changes they're making, and I want to read the committee statement here, okay? It says, this section was modified to expand coverage of GFCI protection for dwelling outdoor outlets. The addition of these outlets address similar safety hazard exposures and should be afforded with the same level of protection as a receptacle outlet on the exterior of the building. Okay? They don't get in and explain anything that's dealing with hardwired here. Okay? But you go back and look at what they did in 210.8D, they tell you that it's connected to an outlet for hardwired. So this is where I've got a problem with their language. Then you come in and you look here in the 2023, they come in, they started making a few more changes here. Okay? Now, and you'll notice they pretty much kept the exact same language here, didn't change it. And then you look right here, and then they say, well, wait a minute, we're going to get rid of this and for all outdoor outlets other than those covered in 210.8A exception 1, and we're going to go ahead and keep what's written here. But what I want to point out here is I actually got them backwards. This is actually the first revision. The other one was the second revision. I got it backwards. If you notice here in the exception, they don't say anything about an AC unit. You see that?
Yeah.
It's not there. But if I come back here and I look, all of a sudden, where is it? Back here. You come here, look right here. Now, I'm in 210.8. Where is that? I went forward one too many. There it is. I put that in the wrong spot because I wanted to get this out. Then all of a sudden, look, they come in and add an exception for the HVAC for 2026.
Yeah, because they had to.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to point out here is it wasn't here originally. Then all of a sudden they had to put another exception there because they were trying to push GFCI protection because people wasn't agreeing with it.
Yeah.
That's
the thing is,
problem.
I'll tell you what, a lot of the AHJ out there, they're not going to have 4 inspections on an AC unit just because they got to battle with these contractors, you know?
Sure. Now, if you notice right here, this is what was accepted by the Standards Council in 2023. Now, the interesting thing is, I went back and I was trying to find the documentation and the TIA that was submitted by the code making panel. Guess what? I couldn't find it. Why is that? It's somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
Probably because that's not in the substantiation.
Could be. But I'm looking at this. This was done by a task group, and they were saying we got problems with the HVAC equipment there. Well, what's his name? Thomas Dimitrovich. He sees a problem all of a sudden. So now that he comes in, and now he realizes, you know what, that Class A is not going to work on all them AC units. So now we need to look at using special purpose type GFCI protection. And they put that in right here, but yet they still kept the exception here.
Which is even more expensive and even more harder to find for every panel.
Oh, but it gets better.
Special order and even more costly.
It gets better. Let me show you. And I won't say this before I get to this. I've been doing this a long time, and I told Bill this was a good example. I remember we used to go to the IAI inspector meetings and stuff. They used to be really big. We went to Southern, Texas, all of them, Western, and they had a company that they did these boxes that were for ceiling suspended paddle fans. These were after everything had already passed, and they decided to come put one in, and they had them bars that went across, and you twist them, and they would go to those rafters up there, and it would just anchor into them, and they had them. It took them probably 2-3 cycles before they got it in the code, but they were pushing to get it in the code, and they were out there showing everybody. They were at all the meetings and stuff, and basically they had to go through all testing and everything before it was approved. Okay, and it wasn't even put in the code or anything. All right, so then you
I remember that when those came out, because they changed the code, and that was literally the only way you could comply with the code on like a remodel.
Yeah. Now watch this. Now they go the second revision, and what do they put here? CUL 943C, outline of investigations for special purpose GFCI. For further information, then it says special purpose GFCIs marked HF or HF plus do not trip when the frequency weighted differential current is less than the specified value for class C, D, or E. Now, when I look at that, I'm looking at it, hey, you don't even have this product yet.
Yeah, they don't have a high frequency even invented yet.
Yeah, and I hadn't even seen or heard anything about testing of it. But you're going to put it in as an informational note about something that hadn't even been developed yet. I mean,
yeah.
This is getting ridiculous. It really is.
Is UL 943C even a standard yet? Like, is it even a...
yeah, it is for special purpose GFCIs. They do have that standard. I have the standard. But this HF and HF plus, I don't know anything about it. This is just something that's all of a sudden brought up, but it becomes part of an informational note, and you don't even have product, and you're not even doing testing on it yet. This is where I get a problem. Then there's one other thing.
The problem I have with that too is that initially they said it had to be Class A. It couldn't be Class C, Class D, Class E, because if you go into like a Class E, GFPE, you can adjust it from 4 to 6 milliamps all the way to 100 milliamps.
Sure. And
they said that wasn't compliant.
Now, let me explain one other thing, and I cannot find the information on it at all at this point. But they come in and they made a change to an outlet, okay, the definition of an outlet. And when you go in and you look at the change as made, it said where the branch circuit supplies utilization equipment, okay? That's apparently, this was voted on and passed, by the way, by the committee. Now, all of a sudden, I was trying to remember, I thought they basically just said committee comment on it now is failed ballot. Okay, even though I've already posted stuff showing where that was. Now the definition of an outlet is going to read exactly what it's always read like. And the reason, and we were the ones that brought this up, Bill and I, we said if the branch circuit is supplying utilization equipment, because what they're trying to do is prove that there's an outlet there. So they tried to redo the definition, and what they did, they proved there wasn't an outlet there, is what I'm going to say. Because if it went to utilization equipment, when the branch circuit goes over and hits a receptacle is a device. So where is it hitting the utilization equipment? It isn't. Yeah. So they got a problem. They realized, oh God, well, we can't write it that way. So now they're back to the drawing board, and they're going to try to figure out how they're going to classify that it's an outlet. Even though you got these people out there trying to tell us there's an outlet at the end of the branch circuit. No, there isn't.
And they're saying it was like perfectly clear. Yeah, they're saying the definition is perfectly clear and it's easy for a 5-year-old to understand. But then they got to change it.
Over and I go over to a box, and I go to that box in the ceiling up there, and then I go over and I hit a lighting fixture. Okay, where's the outlet at?
The box.
Well, that can't be because it's not utilization equipment like they're trying.
They're trying to say it's inside the fixture.
Yeah,
that's what they want it to say.
Yeah, and I said, well, if that's the case, then you better rewrite 314.27 because it says it's that box up there.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is go over there and read 314.27, and you'll see what we're telling you is correct at this point. So this is at this point, this is the evolution of the outlet, and where Bill and I have problems with what they're stating and showing what they've done through each cycle and how all of a sudden it didn't in 210.8F. Oh, outdoor outlets was perfectly fine. Nobody had a problem if there's an outlet there. And then all of a sudden they have to come in and write an exception after the fact and say something about AC units. Well, I want to know anything that's hardwired. I can come up with a lot of different things there. And let's see if you're going to list those under exceptions too. So there's something that is wrong here in the way that this is being presented. And that's why I wanted people to see each cycle, what has happened and what has been added after the fact, and then see if you agree with that.
I honestly, a lot of people said that my public inputs are wrong and stuff like that. And, I honestly wanted to kind of bring the code back to a little bit more reality, and I was wrong. They want it to just keep pushing this, and I think that they think that it's more money for some reason for the industry. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why you want more stuff, why more complexity of installations.
I can't disagree with any of it.
Looks like we got Cameron jumping in. He's chomping at the bit for the quiz, so
let's go ahead and cue it up. Seems like there's a lot of them that are ready for it.
Yeah, Mike was popping in too, so if you guys want to jump in on the quiz, pop in and I will pop you in on the show.
All right, well, let's cue it up and get ready, I guess. That's the wrong one.
Big shout out to Adam for making me that intro. That was pretty awesome. Welcome in, Cameron. I appreciate you joining me. Total easy quiz tonight. So
basketball.
Just letting Cameron know he's muted.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, brother. All right, so which school holds the record for the most consecutive NCAA Final Four appearances? Is it A, Duke? Is it B, Kansas? Is it C, North Carolina? Is it D, UCLA? Or is it E, Kentucky? Good luck, everyone.
Well, that's a good question. I was sitting there thinking about it. And I know back in the day, I'm thinking of the good runs that took place at being there. And North Carolina, I know they got a bunch in UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA had a ton.
Yeah, back in the day. So, but I think theirs didn't carry on for long. It was back when they had Abdul-Jabbar and all that. But North Carolina, back when they had Jordan and all of that, and they had runs before that too. It's one of those two. But I think North Carolina had more than UCLA. I think UCLA would probably be number 2, and then probably Duke would be 3, then 4 Kentucky, and 5 Kansas.
All right, so Daniel is leading off saying C.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, C.
Where are you at, Cameron?
C.
Cameron goes C. Everyone copies Daniel, and you're all correct. Question number 1, 100%.
And it's UCLA next, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a big run like in the 60s.
Yeah, with Jabbar and all them.
Yeah.
I remember those. One that's playing good right now. 2 that had good runs back then was Houston. Houston had a lot of runs back then.
I actually looked it up. Kentucky had some pretty good runs too.
Yeah, that's.
So, question number 2: which team was the lowest seed to ever win the NCAA men's basketball championship? Was it A, Villanova, B, NC State, C, UConn, D, Kansas, or E, LSU? Good luck, everyone.
I'll let everybody answer this because I know the answer to this one.
Yeah, my dad was really big into college basketball, so I remember all the different years of.
I used to play basket, and I can tell a story about this, but when I graduated high school, I went down and I used to play at TCU. And my junior year going through apprenticeship and everything, Coach Killingsworth was a coach at TCU, and I was out there lighting them boys up, and he actually come over, he's watching me play, and actually offered me a scholarship to play basketball at TCU, and that would have been back in 1985. And that's why I know Villanova was the one that Villanova was one.
Well, it looks like you're copying it, and I put this in on purpose because I knew Cam Dog would like this, and I was pretty sure Cam would know this answer too.
You know, back when I was out on the court, they called me King James. You know that, right?
Yeah. So you're going A, Cameron?
Yeah.
It's A.
All right, and everyone gets a pass. We got 2 correct answers so far. Question number 2, you guys all nailed it. Good job, everyone. All right, question number 3. Who holds the record for the most points scored in a single NCAA tournament game? Was it A, Danny Manning? Was it B, Bill Walton? Was it C, Austin Carr? Was it D, David Robinson? Or is it E, Frank Selby? Good luck, everyone.
I actually know
This-
this one too.
This one might be a little tougher.
No. I can tell you who he tried to trick you with, but I know who this one is.
All right. Well, looks like Daniel said Austin Carr.
He's correct.
I don't know. Frank Selby, he scored 100 points in a game.
Yeah. It's not him. It's Austin Carr. I can tell you who it is.
Where are you going? Where are you going, Cameron?
B.
You're going B, Bill Walton?
Wrong.
All right, and the answer is C. Austin Carr from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish scored
Right.
60-something. It was 60-some points in a game.
Didn't he score, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 67, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
67, yeah. So you guys just got lucky. So it's all good, Cam. You can make up for it when we stump them on the next ones. Question number 4. Which coach has the most NCAA men's basketball championships? Is it A, Roy Williams? Is it B, Mike Krzyzewski? Is it C, Adolph Rupp? Is it D, Jim Calhoun? Or E, John Wooden? Good luck, everyone. All right, this is where Cameron can jump back in it. And,
Big.
of course, King James isn't right away saying he knows who this is.
I think I know who it is, and I think it's Mike Krzyzewski, if I'm not mistaken. Then I think the second one, I think, was Wooden.
Well, I know you know that I put a lot of second place ones in here. So
I know you do, but I think it's B.
Yeah, B.
Okay, so Cameron and King James go B. Oh, Daniel goes E, and Daniel got it right. It's actually John Wooden. So,
Oh.
boom, did you guys a little switcheroo on the old E answer. So, Daniel takes the lead now.
I knew it was one of those two. I was like,
Yeah.
God.
So, 4 correct. He's smashing King James tonight. All right, question number 5. In what year did the NCAA first introduce the three-point line for men's basketball? Was it A, 1983, B, 1985, C, 1986, D, 1989, or E, 1990? Good luck, everyone.
This is a good question because I'm a kid of the 80s, and I know it wasn't 83 because I graduated in 82, so it's 85 or 86. I'm trying to remember which year. Let's see. So,
You know what I always think about this one? Remember when Michael Jordan and Larry Bird were playing horse?
Oh
And they're
yeah,
like playing horse for a Big Mac. Like, I actually went back and showed my nephews that.
they used to shoot it off the Empire State Building.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, that's what I remember. Man, I think that was right around like probably like I want to say it was like 84, 85, somewhere in there, but that's
If I'm not mistaken, I think it would have, I don't think it, I don't remember the 3-pointer when I got offered by Killingworth there. So that would have had to be the next year it come in. So if I'm not mistaken, that's 83. Then I was a junior then. I don't think we had it then when I was playing at the Coliseum. So I think it was the next year. So I think it was 86. It's 85 or 86, but I'll go with 86. That sounds plausible to me.
Oh, it looks like he's copying Daniel.
Oh, he went C too. Oh.
You're going C, Cameron?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if Daniel is correct, then he gets the win tonight, and boom, Daniel takes the 5 straight correct answers, and yes, it was 1986-87 season when it was first introduced. So even if it was introduced in 85, it still wasn't actually implemented till 86, 87. Dude, good job, Cameron. Thanks so much for joining us, man. And like I said, you see how hard it is. What's that?
I'll come out next Thursday.
All right. Yeah, I'll throw up some topics. Like if you like this one, you just decide to do college basketball. I try to make them easy, but obviously not easy enough for King James to get the win. So Daniel's going to be driving by my job site with his freaking flag waving tomorrow with his crown on his truck.
Golly, I mean, I got 4 of them. I mean, I'm getting 4 or 5 every week. I still can't win.
Yeah. No, Cameron did good. Like, the thing was that Cameron had some good answers because, like, I think Bill Walton was, like, the second highest.
Give us the tiebreaker question. I want to see what it was.
What college program was the first to win the men's and women's the same year?
Connecticut.
UConn. So,
was I right?
Yeah. All right. So we'll have to do another one. We'll have to do the second tiebreaker.
That goes show. I never see what the questions are. I answer them truthfully, and I get them most of the time.
I'll even give Daniel a chance on this one. What college has hosted the most Final Four tournaments?
Are you saying that they played at the stadium?
That hosted.
Place? Okay. Let me think about this for a second.
Ooh.
Trying to think of where they go and everything.
UNC, huh?
I wasn't going to say UNC. I think.
That's actually a good one.
Yeah, I was because I usually try to have them in certain areas and they try to have them where you can get in and out of there pretty easy too. So I was going to say UCLA.
UCLA? Ooh. That's a good one. You say that's your final answer?
Yeah.
It was the University of Kansas.
Almost went with that one too. I was between Kansas and UCLA.
I almost thought you were gonna get it when you said to get in there easy and out because they do typically try to hold them like in the Midwest a lot.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's where you can get in and out quickly. That's why I was thinking of that.
Oh, Daniel's taking the tough bet. Oh, speaking of that, I totally forgot. Daniel always reminds me. Who do we got for the Super Bowl? I got to take the Eagles.
It's going to be Kansas City.
All right. King James taking KC. I bet you Daniel's taking Eagles. I don't know. To me, being a Broncos fan, it's so hard to root for Kansas City.
I don't like Kansas City either. I just think that they're gonna somehow.
King James and Daniels are against me this time. All right.
Yeah.
You guys got the three-peat.
What? Hey, what the hell's going on there in Denver?
What's that?
Y'all had a radio station that come out there warning when they were going to go get them gang members at that there in Aurora at that apartment building and stuff, and they went to go get them at 2 different locations. All of a sudden, they're all gone. They're saying people were warning them and everything on the news. I was like,
dude, I'll tell you what, man. It's a really freaking blue state here, you know. But
I'm telling people need to be arrested for that.
Yeah.
I see Daniel's thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, we'll see which refs show up, you know. But you know, the thing that's crazy about it is that a lot of the guys that I work with, like, they don't like it. You know, like, they have to, like, watch these guys as, like, barbecuing and stuff when they leave in the morning, and, you know, sleeping when they come home from work and stuff. And
oh yeah,
it's not cool, you know. It's not cute, you know. So
I agree.
Like, we'll see what happens. I think in all, once it starts kind of helping us out in the construction trades, because we're gonna have a little bit of a lull. You know, it's gonna hit us hard because, you know, a lot of these guys were allowed to do all this stuff for such a long time, and then all of a sudden when you come in and say, oh, you can't do this anymore, you know, people aren't gonna be used to that. And, you know, they say, oh, well, you know, you know, we can't do this and we can't do that. And it's like, well, you know, there's other options out there, you know. And so I think in all actuality, I think wages are going to drop a little bit for a little while, and then I think they'll just rocket back up again. But there's going to be a little bit of a lull for a minute. So
we'll see what happens.
Is what it is, but we'll roll into the tool of the week.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
Alright, so this week, it's a little bit of a repeat. I've already done like a review on this tool. I really like it. It's always nice to have a multi-tool in your bag. And I really like this one. It seems to work out good for me. The only reason I'm doing this as like a tool review is because they had on sale, I think it was just tool only for like $89 at Home Depot. So it was either Home Depot or Lowe's, I'm not sure. But what you can do is you could go on there, you could get like these online coupons, and they'll give you like these special deals. And the thing that's so cool about this is you can go in there, you can just you know, screenshot this to your phone. You can go in, you can scan the tool in store, and it'll tell you if that coupon applies. And so that's how I ended up getting mine, was just going in, scanning it, $89 out the door. I already had the battery and the chargers and all the stuff to go with it, but $89 for one of these, just tool only, is pretty good deal. You know, you're looking at normal price, usually around $200, any kind of tool you want to get. So it's pretty heavy duty. Like I say, I've never actually had one of my own until now, and you know, I always just borrow them when I use them at work. And so now I got my own, and like I say, I used one of those special coupon hacks. They call them coupon hacks, but basically all you do is you go on to like Home Depot or Lowe's, and you look at like whatever their deals are for like whatever tool you're looking for. I just happen to be looking for one of these. It says $89.99 out the door. Went over there, scanned it in store, boom. And then they can't really argue because in store it said that the coupon didn't apply. But I went over there to the service desk, showed them like, hey, here's a coupon I have. I scanned it. It says it's good, and they're like, cool, and boom, out the door. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it really does feel like you're stealing tools when you get them for that cheap a price, you know. And I just got lucky. It came with like the blades and all the other stuff, which that wasn't part of the deal, but I got pretty set up. So that's one thing you guys need to look out for is these tool coupons. If you're looking for tools, go check like Home Depot, Lowe's. There's different tool outlets. One of the places by me, there's a place called Baumgart's. I always check there. Different places, and like Baumgart's, I've had times before where I get some of those special coupons, and then I scan it, it goes, and then they have a buy one tool get one free deal too. So then you get 2 tools for $89.99. That's pretty good, you know. So you just gotta watch. Like sometimes they say if you use the coupon, it doesn't apply to the buy one get one free, but you never know. It like a lot of times the people that are working in those stores, they don't know, and so as long as it comes up and scans right on their end, then you're out the door. So you know, I've gotten a really good selection of power tools, and it makes it nice. You're able to just do so much out in the field. So really like it. Probably the number one multi-tool out there, the DeWalt, and like we always joke around, call them yellow decker, but like I say, the battery power, they last the best and everything like that. So like I say, I always try to keep it balanced with my tools, and I do have Milwaukee stuff too, so I don't just do 100% DeWalt. I do both Milwaukee and DeWalt. So
right. Cool.
Let's see if you get this one. I might have a little trickery for you on this one. Let's see if you can get it.
All right, let's see what you got.
It's pretty funny. There was a lot of like argument about this one. It's pretty simple.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 695.3B or something like that. It's 5%, but isn't that a motor that's operating at 115% though?
You might have to kind of read it maybe a couple times to kind of see.
I think it's 5%.
You know.
I'll stick with 5%.
Well, it looks like your dad got you on this one because it's voltage drop on the controller's line side terminals, and that is 695.7D, which says cannot drop below 15% on the line side terminals. So it's 5% on the load side terminals.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh well.
So it's 15% on the line side, 5% on the load side when it's running at 115%.
Well,
and that's where we were getting a lot of. Yeah, there's 2, but they were arguing because they were saying, how are you going to be able to measure 5% when it's running 115%? And they're arguing all this, like, that's a stupid code rule and all this stuff, you know. But I don't write the code.
I didn't remember that 15% one. I remember the 5%. Man, that's, God, I mean, that's a something I don't deal with that much.
Got him, Daniel. I'm getting him tonight, man.
Finally got
I'm learning.
One.
I'm learning. I'm
got
sitting
me
there.
on one of them. It just goes to show, everybody think, you know, oh, he's got the answer. No, I don't. I'm really guessing at everything that you throw out there, you know. And I'm surprised I remembered the 5%. I mean,
I totally forgot. So since I got you, I'll do the quiz shot. I got you. I got you. Number 2. It was either number 2 or number 3. I got you so far.
Out of freaking 10 million questions.
That was out of your own book.
Yeah, I just didn't remember it. Hell, I mean, I got so many damn things going on, I can't remember every little thing in there. But I knew it was 695. I just didn't You know, wasn't 3B where the 5% was? Is that correct?
Yeah, we don't know either, Daniel. We're still trying to figure it out. He says you people, and I don't know who those people are he's talking about, but
Oh, he's racist.
yeah. He says we have ways of getting rid of those people. I don't know what people he's talking about, but
Well, he's racist against Texas electricians.
true. He is Texas journeyman.
Yeah.
And
we're all nothing but a bunch of glorified ditch diggers. He's
yeah.
He's racist.
Yeah,
against us.
he says you're all knuckle draggers. Is what he calls you guys out there.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Anybody from the
I
south.
go find
we're
that
all
screenshot.
stupid.
That's what he said.
Even though eventually we're going to be the biggest. I think our economy is going to get bigger than California. We got our own power grids and all that stuff. But yeah, we're knuckle draggers. Everybody's moving down here in Florida.
Yeah, and I did like how you showed the evolution of the outlet, because that whole thing, like, nobody would have cared about it until you are happen to provide protection for the outlet,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole thing. It's like when you have let's just say you have GFCI in your kitchen and you're going to plug something in and your hand gets in between those prongs, that overcurrent device is going to open
Mm-hmm.
because of your human contact. It's going to limit the duration of your shock that, puts you in between there. Well, now all of a sudden you hardwire it. How is that going to, how are you going to have a human contact that needs a 4 to 6 milliamp interruption? To me, it's just ridiculous. Like, it's just so far-fetched, but,
Yeah.
they seem to think, but, all right, we'll head over to the Wall of Shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
And, this one, I really like how you put up the Shiloh Shannon posted this from Electrical Wall of Shame, but man, how many grounds can you get in one lug? I mean, he's like, hold my beer.
That's custom made right there, baby.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you look at on this one is 408.43, and that's for grounded conductors, and they limit one grounded conductor per terminal. But if they're identified and listed, like this one could be identified and listed for, like, we've seen grounds that go up to 3. That's identified listed for up to 3. But I don't know. I'm not so convinced.
That ain't correct. No way that's correct.
It's like the way Shiloh quoted it was, no ground bar, no problem. That was pretty funny. So,
Wow.
that's pretty funny. Awesome. Thanks for posting that in the group, Shiloh. And like I said, Electric Wall of Shame, that group is just going out of control. I think we're at like 215,000 now. So
Is it that high?
it's just crazy. Like, I got like my most comment post ever asking, what do you call a spring nut with no spring? And it was funny because one of the guys at work was like, hey, what do you call this? And I was like, spring nut. And he's like, shows me there's no spring. And I'm like, dang it. But it's pretty funny. It's still hard to not call it a spring nut, even though it doesn't have a spring.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't know it had got up to that high. Yeah, it's at 218.5. That's quite a few on there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it just goes to show how guys like Jeremy Weed and all these guys, how they're getting like drowned out, and they're starting to realize that they don't have as much of a voice as they think. Like when it comes to we're getting the truth out there, when it comes to, this whole outlet argument, and we showed the whole Vontrell Pergo incident where the kid in Southside Chicago jumped a 6-foot chain link fence and landed on the unit, broke the seal type, lost the equipment ground, and energized the unit. I guess they were trying to say he had bare feet, but there's no way that he jumped a chain link fence with bare feet. I think what actually happened was when he landed on it and he either touched it with his knee or with his hand, and that goes in that touch and step potential,
Yeah.
But, well, I really appreciate Daniel jumping in, joining us. Congratulations, Daniel, 7-time champ of the Willie Quiz. Appreciate Cameron showing up. I know Mike popped in here. Wouldn't let us put you in, Mike. I'll have to talk to him, see if he's going to be the angry Canadian tonight and be angry that he didn't connect a mic or didn't connect video or something. It wouldn't let me put him in. So I was trying, but like I say, that's cool that they showed up, and maybe Adam's streaming tonight, so you guys might want to pop in over there and check out Team SOS if he's streaming. And like I say, he covers a lot of hockey games and stuff. Same with Rising Rhino and all our partners in crime over there in the YouTube world. So appreciate y'all. Thanks so much for joining. You got anything else, James?
Nope. I'm ready to go eat. I'm hungry.
All right. And as always, remember, make every day an easy day. We're out.
See everybody next Thursday. Have a good weekend.